This is Plant-Based Briefing. Thanks to a whole food plant-based diet, I no longer need statins, by Rainer Lux at forksoverknives.com. And I'm your host, Marian Erickson. This is the 10-minute daily curated content plant-based podcast where I narrate a variety of articles on plant-based and vegan living with permission every weekday. Think of it as your daily dose of inspiration to stay the course with your healthy, compassionate lifestyle. I'm pleased to have permission from Forks Over Knives to share their amazing content. And if you haven't already, I recommend watching their free documentary called Forks Over Knives, and you can watch it for free from their website or find it on YouTube. I'll link that in the show notes as well. And I want to give a quick shout out to a listener who left a review. It's a 5-star review from Bella Travels in Canada. And it says, building my knowledge and sources for plant-based living. I very much appreciate this opportunity to be introduced to the vast world of plant-based evidence, lifestyle, and science. I appreciate the blend of animal advocacy, scientific review, and learning how to understand more and do better on my vegan journey. Well done. Thank you so much. I love getting reviews. It motivates me to keep doing what I'm doing. And it may also help others to decide to listen if they come across the podcast. So thank you again. And now let's get to today's plant-based briefing. Thanks to a whole food plant-based diet, I no longer need statins, by Rainer Lux at forksoverknives.com. I ate a standard Western diet for much of my life. In 2006, routine blood tests established that I had high lipid levels. Because I have a family history of heart disease, my general practitioner strongly recommended that I begin taking cholesterol-lowering medication. I was prescribed various types of statins over the years, with many negative side effects. I followed my doctor's dietary recommendations, eating more fruit, vegetables, and lean meats while still consuming dairy. Unfortunately, this treatment plan didn't prevent me from developing cardiovascular disease. I eventually needed to undergo a triple bypass, followed by 4 stents. In 2016, I was diagnosed with a fatty liver. My doctors told me not to worry too much about it. Frustrated, I began to question the whole medical system. Floored by the evidence, discovering the whole food plant-based lifestyle. One day 5 years ago, my sister-in-law casually asked me if I'd ever tried the Forks Over Knives whole food plant-based diet. I told her that I'd never even heard of it. Curious to know more, I began looking for information online, as I'm the kind of person who needs to see evidence to believe health claims. I came across some of Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn's presentations on countering heart disease with a whole food plant-based diet. Initially skeptical, I bought a copy of his book, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease, and decided to read it with an open mind. As I read, I was totally floored. I could not deny the evidence. So in 2019, I started a whole food plant-based diet with the hope of addressing the root cause of my cardiovascular disease, rather than just treating the symptoms as I've been doing for so many years. Following Dr. Esselstyn's stringent, low-fat, whole food plant-based diet was not easy at first, but I kept reminding myself of the alternative. Within 2 weeks of adopting this lifestyle, I started noticing subtle changes. Looking in the mirror, my face appeared healthier. I felt a little more energized. My blood pressure, which had been high, was gradually coming down. These early results encouraged me to keep eating whole food plant-based. Over the next few months, I shed some extra weight I'd been carrying, losing 25 pounds. 5 years later, I'm statin-free. It has been 5 years since I went whole food plant-based. I no longer need statins. My cholesterol is within the healthy range, as is my blood pressure. I've easily maintained an ideal weight. Before going whole food plant-based, I suffered from back pain due to angina. That's no longer an issue. There is no evidence that I have a fatty liver. Doctor visits are no longer frustrating, as I found a new general practitioner who is whole food plant-based herself and uses lifestyle medicine in her practice. There are only 2 such doctors in my city, but I assume that over time, that number will multiply. Last year, I was diagnosed with interstitial lung disease, a condition in which scarring of the lungs makes it difficult to get enough oxygen. This is sometimes caused by cardiac medications, and I wonder if this might have been the case for me. Regardless, I'm hopeful that with my healthful lifestyle, I will halt its progression. My last visit to the pulmonologist indicated that my lung capacity is stable. At nearly 70 years old, I hike up and down hills every week, covering at least 2.5 miles without any issues. I love the outdoors. I don't like to spend too much time cooking for myself, so I keep my meals plain, simple, and tasty. I'll often make spaghetti with veggies, spices, and homemade oil-free sauce. I also like to steam mushrooms in vegetable broth, garlic, and vegan Worcestershire sauce, and I serve them with mashed potatoes made with oat milk and a dash of salt. I enjoy making my own hearty veggie soups. The way I look at food today is vastly different from how I looked at it before I went whole food plant-based. I treat food as my medicine, first and foremost. I'm so grateful I made this lifestyle change so that I can be here for my daughter, pictured with me above, for as long as possible. I hope my story inspires others to take up this lifestyle. I strongly recommend it to anyone who values their health. You just listened to Thanks to a Whole Food Plant-Based Diet, I No Longer Need Statins by Rainer Lux at forksoverknives.com. And I'm Marian Erickson, your host. I've done a ton of other episodes about heart disease, cholesterol, atrial fibrillation. If you want to check out one of them, I'd recommend episode number 2, How Not to Die from Heart Disease by Dr. Michael Greger at nutritionfacts.org. But wherever you listen, if there's a search function, just enter heart disease or cholesterol or whatever, and those will come up for you. And as you know, I love these success stories. They're so inspirational, motivational, and it's interesting when he said he was floored by the evidence. That was my experience as well when I first read the book back in 2019 called The Whole Foods Diet, The Life-Saving Plan for Health and Longevity, written by the founder and former CEO of the Whole Foods grocery chain, John Mackey, and Drs. Alona Polday and Matthew Lederman. They're two of the doctors in the Forks Over Knives documentary. Anyway, I read that book on vacation. I heard about it on, I think, the Rich Roll podcast, and I was blown away. I was shocked. I was angry that this information is not common knowledge. And if you listen to the podcast, you'll understand many of the reasons why. But we came home from that vacation where I was reading this book and went whole food plant-based overnight. We cleared out all the junk. We were vegetarian at the time, so it was just getting rid of the dairy and eggs, but I had to learn how to cook. I had no clue. But thankfully, there are so many great resources out there. I've got many of them linked on my website, plantbasedbriefing.com, but I used meal plans and researched like crazy to learn how to cook. And now we eat the most delicious, amazing, healthy food. And it is so much better than anything we ever ate before. And I used to think, oh, I could never just be a salad person. That's not at all what it is. It's so amazing. And the health benefits are fantastic. So please share this episode with anyone who might benefit, and thanks for listening.